talking again.
Thank you, Cathaoirleach, and I also want to thank the witnesses today. And again, I want to compliment our fire services, our staff and our ambulance paramedics. I mean, they absolutely need to be recognised for the work that they do. And, you know, they've always done a good job, but I think during COVID, and we'll say it again, they have just excelled. And I think it is important that we recognise that. I'm actually not part of the committee, but because I feel so strongly about the ambulance paramedic in my own part of the woods, and I'm really, really worried about it. We spoke about ambulance services there, and I know myself from my own area again where I've had people wait for hours for an ambulance because our own, maybe the one of our own paramedics ambulance could have been gone, sent to Dublin or somewhere else, and then there could be an ambulance sitting in the base and there's no one actually there to take it out. I have huge concerns, and I want to ask, has there been any process of consultation with the staff on the ground to try and improve the services? I'm not happy with the new model. I believe there's a lot of failings, but I'm always weary of emergency centres when you lose that local contact, because at the end of the day, it's all about local contact. And, you can't beat that when it comes to, an emergency or a plan. And I do understand that this new model, look, while it's there, I believe myself that I personally wouldn't be happy with it. I just think it doesn't, it's unacceptable to have anyone waiting hours for an ambulance. And I've had a good few occasions of them, and I have reported them, so I have. The other thing I want to ask about is there any process to put in permanent managers in positions regionally and nationally, as there's so many managers working in roles in the service, which are acting roles, part-time roles. But I believe this can affect the running of the services if there's no clear decision on implementation, like whether it's the roster change, whether it's the local problems. Again, it all boils down to local. The other thing I want to ask is how many officers in the ambulance services are currently in acting roles or part-time roles or not permanent positions, including senior management? Because I believe that, and you know yourselves, and I know everyone's doing their best, but to have a good system, you have to have, I suppose, consistency. And I just feel, and I again can only speak about my own area, the concerns that I face daily there with people that come to me because I feel that the model is failing. The other thing I feel from speaking to all the other different ambulance paramedics, I feel this myself, that they're not being listened to. And I think, for all of us, and we're all in this together, and there's no question about that, but I just feel for us to make that change, and we do need changes, that all of us have a role to play. And I think the roles, like in my own area, we have to address what I seem to be facing in the last few months. And again, I just want to compliment our ambulance paramedics on the great work they've done, but I just don't know about this system at the moment, and I would ask that it be looked at again. And my other concern again is, I say, about the shortage of staff when you're talking about a recruitment plan for 2022. I mean, that's a concern because our ambulance paramedics are at burnout. And, I always feel that, when they are doing such a good job, we are dealing with people's lives, as I know, and I know that's a priority for you. But it's very hard to explain to someone, I can't get an ambulance out to you because that ambulance has gone to Dublin. I'm sorry, but there's nothing I can do. And that is unacceptable. So I would just ask, I will be making another priority, by the way. I've done a lot of work on this, and it's something that I'm not going to, I'm going to work on. I'm going to make sure that we look at this, and maybe if someone could come back to me with some answers. But I do thank you all today for coming, and I'll be waiting for your answers. Thank you.
Does anyone want to respond there?
Thank you, Deputy. Thank you, Chair. Yeah, so I think I picked out 3 questions there, Deputy. In relation to consultation, the most important consultation that should take place is between the supervisor, the manager and the staff member. And there are supervisors in Carlow and Kilkenny, and there's a manager in the area. So the first person I would expect to listen to and speak to the staff is the local manager. That's critically important. Maybe just to take the third question you mentioned, which was about managers, whether they're permanent or not. In order for that relationship, that consultative relationship to be effective, you need stability of leadership. And it is fair to say that the Southeast in particular, and the Southwest to some extent, but the Southeast in particular has suffered from a fluidity in managers. And some of that's because people have left NAS in pursuit of other opportunities in the wider HSE, or perhaps left the HSE altogether. But broadly speaking, they've left NAS. Because whilst NAS is a relatively large ambulance service in global terms, it's a very, very small service in the HSE. So there are much more managerial opportunities for people to pursue their careers in the wider HSE, and we have actually, that has been a feature of it. However, 2022 will be the year of stability from a management perspective, because we do have plans and we do have approval from the HSE and the department, and it will be reflected in the service plan that the Minister will publish in the not too distant future to basically bring about some changes in the management structure which will actually stabilise it and improve it. So I think your point is well made, Deputy, and I would completely accept it, that a lack of stability in leadership has a detrimental impact on staff and whether or not they feel listened to. Just the other issue to touch on is the local centre. I suppose it's probably important to reflect on why the centre arrangements changed. So I'm actually from Laois, as you can probably tell by my accent, but I have vivid recollections, for example, of the Carlow ambulance not going to Graiguecullen because it was in a different county. And if you needed an ambulance in Graiguecullen, the ambulance had to come from Portlaoise. Or likewise, if the ambulance in Carlow was gone to Kilkenny, the ambulance from Athy wouldn't go because it was in a different county and a different control centre. So I suppose what the National Centre has brought is it's dispelled all of that. It has gotten rid of all of that. But I think the fundamental reason that you're having the experience and your constituents are having the experience that you're hearing is because of the capacity issue. So if we address the capacity issue, the national control model will come into its own. It will actually prove to be the effective model that we know it is nationally and that we know it is internationally.
Thank you, Robert. Thank